When upgrading an electrical service, extending existing armored cable may become necessary. While it's generally preferable to maintain a consistent wiring method throughout an electrical system, in some cases, such as in older construction, transitioning from armored cable to NM cable within a junction box is permissible, but only under specific conditions outlined in the National Electrical Code, specifically Section 300.15. This section addresses the requirements for splices and terminations in electrical systems. Firstly, the conductors you are joining must be of the same size and insulation type. This ensures that the electrical current is carried safely and efficiently through the connection. Mixing conductor sizes can lead to overheating at the splice point, posing a fire hazard. It's crucial to verify that the ampacity rating of the conductors is appropriate for the overcurrent protection device, such as the 200 amp breaker and the new service panel. Secondly, the junction box used for the splice must be accessible and listed for the purpose of making splices. Accessibility is critical for future inspection, maintenance, and troubleshooting. The junction box cannot be hidden behind walls or ceilings without providing access. Listing signifies that the junction box has been tested and certified by a recognized testing laboratory, such as Underwriters Laboratories, to meet specific safety standards for its intended use. Thirdly, the splices themselves must be made using a listed splice kit. These kits contain connectors and other materials that have been designed and tested to create reliable and safe electrical connections. Using unlisted or improperly installed connectors can lead to loose connections, overheating, and potential electrical fires. Furthermore, the NM cable must be installed in accordance with its listing. NM cable, also known as non-metallic sheet cable or Romex, is designed for specific applications and environments. Its installation must adhere to the manufacturer's instructions and the requirements of the NEC. This includes securing the cable properly, protecting it from physical damage, and ensuring that it is not exposed to excessive heat or moisture. While extending armored cable with NM cable is not a typical practice, it may be necessary in older construction due to existing conditions. However, it's essential to consider the potential drawbacks and take precautions to ensure a safe and compliant installation. One crucial aspect is protecting the NM cable from physical damage. NM cable is more susceptible to damage than armored cable. Therefore, if the NM cable runs through walls or ceilings, it must be protected by conduit or other means to prevent it from being punctured or crushed. The junction box should be sized appropriately to accommodate the splices and provide adequate working space. Cramped conditions can make it difficult to make proper connections and increase the risk of damaging the wires. It's best to use a junction box that is large enough to allow for easy manipulation of the wires and connectors. When working with older construction, it's essential to inspect the existing armored cable for any signs of damage or deterioration. Old wiring can become brittle and prone to cracking or insulation failure. If the existing armored cable is in poor condition, it may be necessary to replace it entirely rather than attempting to extend it. While the NEC does not explicitly state whether the start with one wire method, finish with it rule applies to old construction, maintaining consistency in wiring methods is generally considered good practice. However, in situations where it's impractical or impossible to maintain consistency, transitioning between wiring methods may be acceptable, provided that all applicable code requirements are met. When performing any electrical work, safety should always be the top priority. Firstly, always to energize the circuit before working on it. Secondly, use properly insulated tools and wear appropriate personal protective equipment, such as gloves and safety glasses. Thirdly, if you are not comfortable performing the work yourself, it's best to hire a qualified electrician. They have the knowledge, skills, and experience to ensure that the electrical installation is safe and compliant with all applicable codes and regulations. In summary, extending armored cable with NM cable is permissible under certain conditions, primarily in older construction where maintaining consistency in wiring methods may not be feasible. However, it's crucial to adhere to the requirements of NEC 300.15, including using conductors of the same size and insulation type, installing a listed and accessible junction box, using listed splice kits, and installing the NM cable in accordance with its listing. Additional considerations include protecting the NM cable from physical damage and using a junction box that is large enough to accommodate the splices and provide adequate working space. Always prioritize safety when performing electrical work, and if you are unsure about any aspect of the installation, consult with a qualified electrician. Remember that electrical codes and regulations are subject to change, so it's essential to stay up to date with the latest requirements. This information is intended for educational purposes only and should not be considered a substitute for professional electrical advice. Always consult with a qualified electrician before performing any electrical work.